Billy Joe Saunders signs a promotional deal with Eddie Hearn and Rematch Room DAZN. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working now. Billy Joe Saunders just announced he was the mystery guy that Matchroom was saying, hey, what's this mystery signing? The world knew it was Billy Joe Saunders. The industry rumblings were that it was Billy Joe Saunders, and surprise, it was Billy Joe Saunders. So congrats to him on his new deal. He amicably left Frank Warren for whatever reason, and he says he's always looked at the DAZN fighters and thought like basically he fits in and that would be a good look. So it's going to be interesting to see what can be done with the career of Billy Joe Saunders. I will say this. There's potential for good, but we have to see how it's all played out, because to me, it's going to look extremely bad if DAZN has all of these top guys at 160, yet they don't fight. So if anything, this adds pressure to DAZN to deliver. For example, Billy Joe Saunders was already scheduled to fight Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, who was now in possession of Billy Joe Saunders' old WBO belt. And instead of, Billy Joe Saunders failed a drug test, blamed it on nasal medicine, and instead of, he actually was, the WBO threw him a bone. Even though he failed a drug test, as soon as he was able to compete, the WBO said that he could fight for the title again and he would be Andrade's mandatory. But instead of fighting him, this was through Frank Warren, mind you, he ended up moving up in weight and fighting a guy named She-Fat, whoever that is, and winning a title at 168. So he basically avoided the Billy Joe Saunders fight twice. Once because he didn't adhere to the rules, and I don't care if the medicine was allowed in the UK, because he wasn't fighting in the UK. So when in Rome, do as Romans do. You know you're fighting in Boston, or you're supposed to. You have to adhere to the US rules, period. So that, plus the fact that he went to fight this She-Fat dude at 68 as opposed to fighting Andrade as the mandatory, it left questions in my mind why he would do that. Because clearly the better fight would be Demetrius Andrade. Andrade seems to be getting avoided left and right. New media, you know what it is. Canelo doesn't seem chomping at the bit or eager to fight him. And Andrade can't get a good look. Triple G don't seem like you want to fight him. Saunders was down to fight him, but failed, and then he didn't make it right. For example, here's a similar example of how Deontay Wilder, he was supposed to fight Luis Ortiz. Through no fault of his own, Luis Ortiz failed a drug test, but then they fought each other the very next fight after Wilder knocked out Stavern in the rematch. So that's proof, if two guys wanted to fight and then the guy gets cleared to come back or serves a suspension, the fight can still happen. But Billy Joe Saunders and Frank Warren, for whatever reason, chose not to reschedule the Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade fight. So to me, the pressure is on DAZN, because they have Golovkin, they have Canelo, they have Demetrius Andrade, they have Danny Jacobs, they have Billy Joe Saunders. Jacobs said he's moving up to 68. They have Caleb Smith, he's at 168. They now have Billy Joe Saunders. So in the 160 to 168 pound division, they have enough players where they can make some interesting fights. I would love to see Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders. Triple G never fought Billy Joe Saunders. Andrade was supposed to and never fought Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo. Billy Joe Saunders has been linked to all these people. He's been linked to possibly fight Triple G, Canelo. His name has been mentioned with these people. Andrade, right? And Caleb Smith. And then he couldn't agree to a deal. So let's see if that brings it closer now that he's in the Eddie Hearns family now. But it could be good if he does fight some of these people. Like I said, Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders. He's moving up to 168. Billy Joe Saunders is new at 168, and he's a champion. That's a good ass fight. So make it. So it does put pressure on DAZN because they haven't showed a history of being able to get some of these bigger fights done, or the fights that I feel that fans would really get behind. So they're gonna have to put Saunders in there with somebody. Caleb Smith, Triple G would be great. Canelo, Jacobs, Andrade. These are all great fights. So a lot of options. I can see why Billy Joe Saunders, especially if he's getting paid more or something, I can see why he would be interested in it. But it's gonna look extremely bad if Billy Joe Saunders continues to fight some of the guys that he's fought around the big names that he's fought. Because this is what Billy Joe Saunders. Again, I don't know if it's his old management and promotional company, but he would fight Andy Lee, and then he would regret, and then he fight like Artur Akov, right? He'll fight David Lemieux, who wasn't necessarily the guy to beat in the division, but a solid, sturdy name with power. He looked great in that fight, and then he'll come back and fight, some bozo nobody knows or whatever. So he has to break that cycle. He's saying he wants the fights. He's amateur, seasoned. He has a title. He said he can make 160, 168. I can't wait to see what's decided. Billy Joe Saunders, he's slick. He's a very good fighter. And like I said, I just want to see him in the bigger fights because he came back after the Andrade suspension or whatever, and he fought on, I think it was a Carl Frampton card in the UK, and he fought at cruiserweight, if I'm not mistaken. It was just like a stay busy fight, and it was against an unknown person. So I'm not trying to see that. Him and his buddy Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's fighting Otto Wallen. I don't want to see Billy Joe Saunders at this point. You got a new deal. You should be live and reinvigorated. You say you can bounce from 160 to 168. You obviously can't fail any more drug tests because that would look horrible and, go against the rules. But you have a lot of options. So hopefully DAZN and Eddie Hearn can pull the trigger and get some of these fights done because there's a lot of them out there that would be great. I'm really interested in Caleb Smith versus Billy Joe Saunders. Caleb Smith can scrap, but he hasn't had a name that would show me what he can really do. Hassan Ndam, he wasn't at the top of the division. Lemieux beat him, and Saunders beat Lemieux, along with Golovkin and other people, right? Hassan Ndam lost to Peter Quillen, and people said Peter Quillen was cherry picking and shit. But then when Caleb Smith beats Hassan Ndam, everyone gives him credit for it. And he was a big ass 168 pounder fighting a 160 pounder. So you got to know your boxing. Caleb Smith versus Billy Joe Saunders, they couldn't get it together when it was Eddie Hearn and a Frank Warren fighter, but now they're both Eddie Hearn's fighters. So they're going to have to be able to get one of these big fights done. That's how I see it. And let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. But smart move if Billy Joe Saunders can make some money and get these names that will, solidify what he's been claiming, like that he's the best and stuff like that. Even Triple G need a fight on that. And I know he's fighting Derevyanchenko. That's definitely better than Vanes Martirosyan and Steve Rolls, Bakery Rolls. But Billy Joe Saunders, I want to see how Triple G does with somebody. Triple G's 37. I want to see how he does with someone slick, because Billy Joe Saunders has showed a better gas tank than Canelo, and he has better foot speed than Canelo. Canelo gave Triple G immense problems, and he has stamina issues and he has slow feet. So I want to see how he does against a southpaw that's slick, with some pop, experience and stuff like that. Also, I need to see how Billy Joe Saunders, because we know Canelo has a chin, but we want to see how Billy Joe Saunders' chin would hold up in a situation with a relentless guy who has a chin and has relentless pressure like Gennady Golovkin. So very interesting times. Jamal Charlo, I don't want to leave him out, but he's not a DAZN fighter. I would love that fight. If Saunders fought Jamal Charlo, that would be a good fight. But the reason I'm using all these DAZN fighters is because they should be easy to facilitate. The in-house Top Rank has made a whole career fighting Pacquiao with in-house Top Rank fighters when Pacquiao was with them. You see Spence versus Porter, they're fighting. Wilder Ortiz, these fights are easy to facilitate when it's all in-house. You don't have to deal with a middleman or a third party. You can go straight into negotiations, and it just makes everything seamless and easy. So let's see what will happen with Billy Joe Saunders now being aligned with Eddie Hearns. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, with Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.